This is the new Vauxhall Corsa. Actually, I say new, it's not strictly entirely new because underneath the skin it does actually share its chassis with the old Vauxhall Corsa. But hey, everything you see and touch, yeah, that is new. For instance, every single body panel has been replaced. And so now up front the Corsa has a similar face to that of the Adam City car. Meanwhile round the back, the rear bumper and tail lamps are like the Astras. Because it shares its chassis with the old Vauxhall Corsa, this new Vauxhall Corsa, unsurprisingly, is exactly the same size inside. Actually, that's no bad thing, because the old car was very practical. I like the way you open this one with the release just under there on the Vauxhall badge. And the boot you actually have there is one of the largest on any Super Minis, plus it's a nice usable square shape, so it's easy to fit items in, such as this, well, rather bright showy suitcase. If you notice, you'll see these ledges here and here, and that's because you can get this car with a false floor, so you can hide things underneath it or raise the boot up for easier loading. Fortunately, this car doesn't have it. You have to pay a little bit extra for that item, I'm afraid. The Corsa may be a compact car on the outside, but here on the inside, it's very, very roomy. Adults will be fine here in the back seats. I mean, this seat is in my normal driving position. I've got decent knee room. Got loads of headroom, and for reference, I'm 5'11", or if you prefer the metric system, I'm actually 179.5 centimetres tall. One thing that I will point out is that the central seat does have a little bit of a hump on it. I mean, you're not going to put adults here, but kids, they'll be okay. And because there's just enough room for some small feet on there, they'll be able to sit like that. And it's okay for short distances. Slight word of warning, there is just one slight problem, I think, with this car. And if you look down here, you'll notice the runner for the front seat actually eats into the footwell. So you do have to sit slightly skew-if. It's not a big deal, but it's just something worth pointing out. It's not just the outside of the Corsa which has a new look, the inside does too. The old car was by no means shabby, but this new interior feels suitably posher, with soft touch materials on the dash and shiny bits of plastic trim that are available in a range of different colours. There's lots of new tech too. For instance, mid-level cars upwards get this new colour touchscreen, which we've already seen in the Adam, and it's very nice to use. You get DAB digital radio for it, plus you can also download various apps for the car. For instance, when you hook it up to your phone, I can play TuneIn Radio because I've got that on my phone. There we go. Also, you can get sat-nav and you run it through your phone again, so that's really useful, and it saves on having normal sat-nav in a car. Another feature they've added to this new Corsa is a heated front windscreen. So when you press this button down here, as well as bringing on the rear heated screen, it heats the front windscreen. The reason for that is that Vauxhall customers used to complain their Corsas took ages to demist the windscreen with the old fan system, and so it seems that Vauxhall clearly does listen to its customers. As well as improving the looks, Vauxhall has improved the way the Corsa drives. One way it has done this is by giving it an excellent new 3-cylinder 1-litre turbo petrol engine. Normally 3-cylinder engines make this noticeable thrumming sound, but this one just, well, it's almost completely silent, isn't it? In fact, it's like driving around in an electric car. The engine's nice and punchy as well. 0 to 60 takes just 10.2 seconds, and it's quite strong, so I can pop it into 6th gear. I'm doing just under 30 miles an hour, and yeah, it's not struggling, it's not feeling like it wants to stall. And being able to do that does obviously help the economy. So Vauxhall says this engine will do 57 miles per gallon. And I reset the trip computer earlier today before we started filming, and if I look at the average MPG now, I'm doing 47 miles per gallon. So for real world driving, that is pretty good. The new engine really is the standout feature of the car, as you only ever really hear it under very hard acceleration. It's not the only change though. Vauxhall has also revised the Corsa's steering. In city mode, it makes it nice and light for parking and low speed manoeuvres. When you want to go a bit faster, you turn it off and hope the steering is better than it was in the old car. And it is. Vauxhall has actually tuned this car's steering specifically for UK roads, and it's done the same with the suspension, and it does just glide over bumps extremely well for a Super Mini. I mean, this is a very comfy car to travel in. The thing is though, some people want their Super Mini to be a bit feisty. While the Corsa drives very well, it just lacks that fun factor of the Ford Fiesta. Also, the Vauxhall has a few foibles. After having spent some time with this Corsa, I've noticed a few annoying things about it. For instance, the seats, they feel rather cheap. If I press here, I can actually feel the metal support underneath, and the material itself is just so cheap and nasty and rough that if you rub your hand on it, you can actually exfoliate your calluses away. Another issue I have is that, yes, you've got some big door bins, which is great, but the glove box is rather small, that all you've really got room for in there is, yeah, Hello Kitty chopped dip. This isn't mine. Another slightly annoying problem is that when you fold down the back seats, they sometimes snag on the seat belt, and with them laid down as far as they'll go, you'll notice you don't get a completely flat floor, and that can be a bit frustrating when you're trying to carry large items such as flat pack furniture back from IKEA. Also, what's going on with this? This is a single piece bench seat, and we're in a mid-spec car. Really, you should have a split folding rear seat at this level. That's just a bit mean, actually, Vauxhall. I should also point out that if you go for the 3-door model, it has a sloping roof line, so it's a bit more cramped in the back. And you also don't enjoy the benefit of these huge rear doors. I mean, this 5-door is great for fitting a baby seat in the back of the car because you've got so much space to manoeuvre. But the 3-door is slightly better looking, and it's slightly cheaper to buy as well. Though the new Corsa is actually considerably less expensive than the old Corsa. In some cases, it's actually up to £2,500 cheaper. But if you're considering this car, and it is very good, you should also check out our reviews of its rivals. The Volkswagen Polo by clicking up here, the Ford Fiesta by clicking down there. If you click down here, you can see our very latest video review. And if you click up there on our logo, you can subscribe to our channel.